You may have seen this recently. Realtor.com is predicting that the Cape Coral real estate market could drop another 10% in 2026. And in this January 2026 Cape Coral market update, I'm going to explain exactly why that prediction is dead wrong and why a lot of buyers who believe that headline are going to miss a real opportunity that's unfolding right now here in Cape Coral. Now, that forecast is based on broad models, old data, and national assumptions, not what's really actually happening here on the ground in Cape Coral. Now, what I'm going to show you today is different. This report is built entirely on real numbers pulled directly from the local MLS. No hype, no scare tactics, just honest, current data that shows exactly what's happening in the market right now. Now, for the last couple of years, a lot of buyers have been doing exactly that, waiting for prices to drop, waiting for the rates to change, waiting for the so-called perfect moment. But what we're seeing right now is a shift. Many of those buyers are starting to make their move. They're realizing that trying to time the market often means missing the opportunity altogether. They're also getting tired of those frigid winters in the north. As inventory tightens and competition slowly comes back, the leverage that they were holding once before is now starting to fade. Real estate is local, and when you look closely at Cape Coral, especially lifestyle-driven and waterfront properties, the actual data tells a very different story than the headlines. I'm Barry Cessna, your Cape Coral waterfront realtor, and if you're serious about buying, selling, relocating, or retiring in Cape Coral, or even just trying to decide whether now is the right time to make a move, this is the Cape Coral Market Report you don't want to miss. Now, if you'd like clarity on how this shifting market affects you, or maybe you're ready to purchase your Cape Coral dream home, I'd love to help you the same way I've helped so many others. I invite you to book a complimentary strategy call with me where we'll talk through your goals, your timing, and what these numbers really mean for your next move before the opportunity passes. All right, let's dive into the January 2026 Cape Coral Market Update. Welcome to the Cape Coral Market Update for January 2026. We've got a lot of great information to go over, pull all our numbers directly from the MLS so we know exactly what's happening here in the Cape Coral market. This is the single family market update, so we're going to look back 30 days, 90 days, and then 1 year. So we can start to see where trends are happening, where numbers are starting to go up or down compared to where they were just a few months ago or even a year ago. A lot of great things going on here in the city of Cape Coral. We're definitely seeing inventory continue to shrink compared to where it was last year. Prices are starting to increase a bit over the last few months. So we're going to dive into that a little bit. And then, of course, we had that recent headline come out by Realtor.com saying that the Cape Coral market was projected to drop another 10% in 2026. Now, they said they base that off of different data, which we're going to dive into that. We're going to explain why that data is absolutely wrong. It's old, it's not up to date with what's currently happening here in Cape Coral, and what we're actually seeing is more and more buyers coming into the market, not exiting the market compared to where they were last year. So let's dive into the market update. Let's go ahead and look first. What we go over is the market indicators. This is how we know exactly what's happening. We look at inventory. This is going to show us how much supply is out there. So buyers need supply. And then we look at median price point. This is going up or down, shows you exactly what you should be expecting to pay for a median home here in the city of Cape Coral. 50% of the homes sold above this amount, 50% of the homes sold below this amount. Then we look at days on the market. How many days is it taking for homes to go under contract? And then last but not least is closed sales. How many days is it? How many closed sales are we having? This one's going to surprise you. I'm actually pretty excited where we are year over year, what's happening here in Cape Coral. We're actually seeing more closed sales happening. So that number is going to surprise you. It's not going backwards, it's going up. That means we have more demand, more and more buyers coming into the market, getting some excellent opportunities right now. So we'll dive into those numbers as well. And I'll explain to you along the way why that Realtor.com projection is absolutely wrong. Okay, first up, active inventory. How many homes are currently available on the market? This is the inventory. Currently, December 2025, we had 2,494 homes available at the end of December on the MLS, ready to purchase right now. September 2025, just 3 months ago, 2,465, and December 2024, 3,096. 1 year ago, we had 600 more homes available on the market than we have today. Let me say that again. We have 600 more homes on the market last year, 1 year ago, than we do today. So A lot of that data that Realtor.com pulled saying that our market was going to drop 10% was because our inventory was so high. And it always takes them a long time to catch up. Last year, last February, March, yes, we had homes on the market, over 3,500 single family homes on the market last February and March. Currently, 2,494. Now, Barry, you say, Barry, where did all those homes go? I think the numbers are crazy. Well, let me tell you where the numbers went. Different areas. Number one, the builders slowed down, so we're not seeing as many new homes come to the market. Number two, people that put their homes on the market last year just to try to see if they would sell did not get the prices they wanted. They pulled those homes off the market and they're going to sit and wait. They don't need to sell. They just were testing the market. So a lot of those homes came off the market because of that. And then the other thing that we didn't have this past year is a hurricane. Hurricane season was very quiet. The year prior, we did have a couple go through to the north, so it did concern people a little bit. Oftentimes when we see hurricanes come close to the area, we see a lot of people get a little scared and they put their homes back on the market. And then as time passes, they take them homes off the market and they forget about it until the next big storm comes through. Okay, and then of course we sold a lot of homes. We've been selling homes here in Cape Coral as well. So if we look at the chart here where we were last February, March, January, huge numbers. And that's during season. It always ticks up during season, and that's what's happening right now. But we're only at 2,500 homes, which tells me we're not anywhere near where we were last year at 3,100 homes. We're not going to hit 3,500 homes once we get into February. Absolutely not going to happen. I was projecting a few months ago that we might see 3,000 once we get into February. Now I'm going to be surprised if we even hit 3,000. We might hit 2,800 single family homes on the market here in the next couple of months before it starts going back down again as we get out of season and a lot of those homes get purchased. Next up, median price point. Median price point December 2025, $378,800 for a single family home here in Cape Coral. September 2025, $365,000. And December 2024, 1 year ago, $381,000. Now, a lot of people are saying, I'm going to wait, Barry, I'm going to wait, I'm going to wait, I'm going to wait. That's fine. You can keep waiting, but to save $2,000 over 1 year, it doesn't seem like it makes sense to really wait, because to be honest with you, you probably would have got a better deal back in December 2024. We probably would have been able to get that number down a little lower for you if you were an aggressive buyer. I would have been able to help you get that number even lower to where you would have saved more money than if you buy now, because there's so much less inventory now than there was last year. So if you're trying to time the market, these are signs, and we're going to look at some more signs of why things might be drying up and it might be heading back towards a seller's market. Not there yet, but I'm telling you to pay attention because I think that we're heading there. We're certainly not going to go down 10% over the next 12 months. Not going to happen. And if we look here at where prices were at, prices have been dropping just a bit over through the last summer and then into the fall. And now we saw them gradually start to come up again. Last month, we actually came up quite a bit higher, closer to 400,000. This month, we dropped to 378.8. I believe as we get into season, we're going to still stay right under 400,000, probably 375 to 400, somewhere in that range. It's going to fluctuate, but we're not going to be dropping below 350. We're not going to see those numbers come down at all. So if you're ready to purchase, if you're in the market to purchase, it's great to find that home that you like and still negotiate with sellers while they're willing to negotiate before you wait until prices start ticking up for a period of time. Let's look at days on the market. This is how many days homes are sitting on the market before going under contract. December 2025, 55 days on the market. September 2025, 60 days on the market. 1 year ago, December 2024, 52 days on the market. As you can see, we have been increasing in days on the market. As we went out of season last year and through the summer, we saw those numbers increase. And then we peaked last month and we saw it drop quite a bit this month. This number here, I think, is going to be hovering right around 50 days. For the next several months, we will see that start to drop once we start to see inventory decrease even further and buyer demand increase even more. However, it's not ever going to get back to where 7 days, 8 days, 9 days like we saw during the pandemic. I think a healthy place to be would probably be 20 days to 30 days on the market, or on the market before it goes under contract. And now this, when I say 55 days, that's a house that's ready to sell. It's priced to sell. The reason these numbers have been so big lately, in probably the last 2 or 3 years, it's been up like this, is because so many people put their homes on the market with ridiculous price points. They think that they're going to get this much money for the home, 400,000, 600,000. Let's say they're going to put 600,000, but the home might only be worth 550. So is that home going to sell at 600? Absolutely not. So it's just going to sit on the market, and that's what we're seeing it happen. That's what's pulling these numbers so high, is people have these thoughts from back in the pandemic and when their homes were worth so much back in 2022. And then what's happening is they're pricing them too high because they don't want to lose money. And then eventually they do bring them down in price to get them to where they need to be in order to sell. Homes that are priced, that are ready to sell, that are priced accordingly, that are in great shape, they're selling very quickly. They don't take 55 days. But this is where we are at. This is where we've been for the last couple of years. And this is why the number's so high. Next up, closed sales. So this is crazy. December 2025, 403 closed sales in the month of December. Those are homes that went under contract back in November. And 403, September 2025, 407 homes sold. Last year, 1 year ago, 357 homes. This is all about buyer demand. This tells me buyers are here. Look at this, 403. We had almost 50 more buyers here this year in Cape Coral than we did last year. That's starting to tick up, and that number's been ticking up year over year for about the last 5 months. We've been seeing that number jump, and that's people just becoming more and more comfortable. They're starting to see interest rates drop a little bit. They're starting to want to come into the market. They're getting tired of the cold up north. What we saw in October, we actually saw almost double the amount of Gulf Access Canal home buyers this last October than we did a year ago October. Almost double. Buyers are coming into the market. Buyers are buying here in Cape Coral. December 2025, 403. And then if you look here, we're going to go up last March, April, May. These are our prime times to sell. So we're getting into that. We're going to have the most competition. If you're thinking about selling, you definitely want to get your home on the market when the most amount of buyers are here. Now, if you're thinking about buying, you have the most amount of options, and you can usually negotiate to get better prices. So coming up is our season. Coming up is the best time to be in the market, whether you're selling or buying. Lots of opportunity there. Now, if you really want the best deal, then probably in the fall, late summer, early fall is your best opportunity to find the best deals, but you may not have as much opportunity or much inventory to choose from. All right, months of inventory. I think this is so important to understand, and this is really what I look at as far as the market goes. This is supply and demand. So how many months will it take for us to sell out our current supply? Our current supply right now in December 2025, it would take us 6.2 months to completely sell out if we don't have another new home come to the market. September 2025, 6.1 months, and 1 year ago, December 2024, 8.7, almost 9 months to sell out. Now that's a huge difference. It's just a couple numbers, but it's a huge difference when it comes to a real estate market. Now, if we look down here at the yellow line I've got on the chart, anywhere between 4 and 6 months is considered a neutral market. Doesn't really benefit the buyer, doesn't really benefit the seller. And if you can see, since last March, we've been just barely in a buyer's market. We actually came into a neutral market back in August, October, and we're just barely hanging out just above a neutral market. We're in a buyer's market. So yes, buyers do have leverage right now. Absolutely. However, not much. And if this trend continues, which with the amount of inventory that we've been seeing come to the market, if this trend continues through season, which I believe it's going to, and definitely into the summer, we're in for a real ride as far as prices go, because prices aren't going to keep staying low. They're going to start ticking back up again. Look at January and February. Last January, we were up around 14 months of inventory. Last December, look at this line. We were at 8.7 months. Last February, 11 months. So those numbers are high. We're not going to hit numbers like this year. We're not going to have that kind of inventory. And if you remember a year ago, there was an egg shortage. A lot of birds had to be killed off because of disease, so there weren't as many eggs. What happened to the price of eggs? It shot through the roof. I was paying double the price for a dozen eggs than I was a few days prior. It just shot up, and it stayed like that for a few months until they started going back down again. So same thing happens with houses. When the inventory goes down and the demand goes up, prices start to increase. Now, they're not going to increase anywhere near like they did back in 2020, 2021, 2022. However, If you're trying to time the market and get the bottom to get the best price, now might be the best time for you to buy. If you're not concerned about that, if you want opportunity, now you might want to buy as well. Now, if you're just trying to get interest rates to be low, we still might see those come down here in the next few months once the Federal Reserve changes hands and we go forward from there. But really what I want to point out is months of inventory and where we've been. We're in a stable market right now, just over 6 months of inventory. We're not going up, we're not going down. Inventory actually continues to decrease year over year, and it has been that way for the last several months. Okay, current trends. So where were we at the end of January? I'm sorry, the end of December and the end of November. So new listings coming in end of November, 101. And this is a week. This is for the last week of November. Then this is for the last week of December. But sold 77. And we go back down here to pending 83. Increased price increase 9. Price decrease 147. New listings the last week of December, 140 new listings. Sold 95. We actually sold more the end of December than we did the end of November. Pending, a few more went pending. And then price decreases, a few more increased in price, and then a few more decreased in price. People are trying to hedge their bets. They want their homes priced correctly. So if they haven't been selling, I'm starting to see people lower the prices on their homes in order to get those sold as we move into the season. So if you absolutely have to sell your house, definitely you want to make sure it's priced accordingly. Reach out to me, let me chat with you. Let's go ahead and review the market. Let's review your neighborhood. Let's find out exactly what your home should be selling for, and then let's get it put on the market at the right price. So reach out to me, let's chat about that and find out exactly what it is that you should be getting for your home in order to sell it in the right amount of time. Okay, other key numbers to be aware of. Sold price per square foot, $243 a square foot. That's the median price per square foot. List price received, 97.3%. So of the list price, sellers are giving a bit of a discount, about 2.5%, not much, but you are still able to get a discount there. Now, if you're working with me as a buyer, I've got some tricks to go in and we're able to get that down, typically a lot lower than that, just depending on how motivated the seller is. But I am pretty good at negotiating those contracts for my clients. So go ahead and reach out to me and we can try to get you a better deal than 2.5% off the list price. New listings, 567 new listings came to the market in the month of December. We had almost 200 more new listings come to the market in December 2024 than we did this month. Another thing about inventory is not increasing, it's going down, down, and down. Now, months of inventory, 6.2 months. We just chatted about that. 6.2 months of inventory, which is barely into a buyer's market. It's a neutral market. We are going to see more inventory come to the market here over the next month, which will put us a little bit further into a buyer's market, but still nothing like we were last year. All right, other key numbers to be aware of. This is numbers that we need to understand how the overall economy is working, what's happening with interest rates, unemployment, how that affects you. So first up is inflation. We peaked in inflation at 9.1% back in June 2022. We're currently now sitting at 2.7%. That did go up to 3% just a couple months ago. We're back to 2.5% or 2.7%. So that's a great sign for inflation. Interest rates, 8.01%. We peaked back in November 2023. We're now sitting at 6.2%. Like I was saying there for a while, if we stayed under 6.5% for any length of time, we'd really start to see buyers start moving into the market. And we are seeing that. That's one of the reasons the buyer demand is starting to increase. People are getting more and more comfortable with that. Now, next up is if we get below 6% for any length of time. If we fall below 6% for at least 3 months in a row, the market changed. It's over. If you were trying to get the bottom of the bottom of the bottom, you missed. Prices are going to start going back up. So pay attention. Interest rates are going to be going lower here in the next 6 months. When they change hands at the Federal Reserve, I believe things are going to change even further. And some of the major, like the Zillows, and they're starting to change their projections for what is going to happen in 2026 because of what's happening with the Federal Reserve. Unemployment is actually jumping up. It's at 4.6%. We hovered just below 4% for many, many, many months, the last couple of years actually. We're actually jumping up now. We're at 4.6% and increasing. So what happens when unemployment goes up? That's instability. When instability happens, interest rates start to drop. So we're going to watch that. Current inventory here in the city of Cape Coral. This is single family homes here in the city of Cape Coral, 2,494 homes available in the city of Cape Coral for purchase. Year over year decrease of almost 20%. I don't make this stuff up. These are the actual numbers of what's happening here in Cape Coral. How can you have a 10% decrease in price when you have a 20% decrease in inventory? It just doesn't make sense. Demand, population currently estimated around 240,000 people here in the city of Cape Coral. Next 5 years, we're going to be over 260,000. And by 2050, 320,000 people living here in the city of Cape Coral. One of the fastest growing cities in Florida and really the United States. Just lots of people moving here to Cape Coral. Is now the time to buy? Let's chat about this. Yes, you still have options. You still have a lot of inventory to choose from. And as we go into the next few months, we're going to have even more inventory come to the market. You still have options to choose from, many options. You have low prices. Prices are still low. They're going to continue to be there for the next few months. They are going to start to gradually increase depending on many different variables or many different things, potential things that could happen, which we are expecting to happen. We're currently in a neutral market, or we're actually in a buyer's market, but very close to a neutral market. If we go down into the neutral market, or even, God forbid, a seller's market for the buyers, then prices will start to increase. A lot of people want to hang out, and this happened back in 2020. Prices started going up. People said, Barry, I'm going to wait. I don't want to, the prices are too high right now. I know they're going to come back down. I'm going to wait. And you know what happened? Prices went up 86% from where they were at back in 2019 to 2022. Now they've come down about 20% since 2022, mid 2022. Now, what the problem is now, those people that were waiting, number one, they can't buy the house that they could have bought back then because they just can't afford it. Interest rates were much lower back then. They could have afforded a much nicer, better house, and the prices were much lower. So number one, they can't afford the house that they wanted. And so even if they can afford a house, many of them cannot even afford a house. And now they're stuck renting or getting a house that's well below what they could have purchased a while ago. So if you're in a position to buy the house that you want to buy, take advantage and buy it now. You can always refinance down the road. And as far as prices go, they're not coming down much further, if at all. I believe they're going to start heading back the other direction. So pay attention. If you're able to buy now. Sellers are willing to negotiate, but how much longer? Sellers are still motivated. They're willing to bring the prices down. They're willing to give you concessions towards your closing cost, things like that. But I'm starting to see that dry up a little bit. So if you're wanting to buy, now's a great time. Is now the time to sell? Again, you have to ask yourself, do I need to sell? Prices are starting to level out, but you're still not getting those higher numbers like you might have been able to get it 3 years ago, 4 years ago. They're just not there yet. It's going to be a while to get there. If you need to sell, you have to ask yourself, why do you want to sell? If it's just to kind of test the market, those numbers aren't there. If you need to sell because you're getting relocated, or maybe it's time to move back north to be with family, or the market's just not what you want it to be here. Maybe you don't like Florida anymore. I don't know why that would be, but I love living in Florida, but maybe it's just not for you. So yes, you can sell, but you have to understand how to market your home properly, how to price it properly, how to do strategic selling, social media, AI, understanding the market and what your home can actually get. Currently, inventory is shrinking, which is great for sellers. And rates are trending down, which is also great for sellers because the more buyers that are here, the less inventory we have, the more prices are going to start jumping back up. So is now the time to sell this season? If you need to sell, absolutely get your home on the market as soon as possible. Go ahead and reach out to me. Let's book a Zoom call or let's meet in person. Happy to run over to the house, take a look, and give you my professional analysis of the property and what I believe you could sell it for. Now, if you're trying to get top dollar, it's still not the time to sell. You're going to need to wait another year or 2 or 3. All right, that concludes this market update, the January 2026 market update for the city of Cape Coral for single family homes. Hope you found some great information here. I pull all my numbers directly from the MLS. That helps us understand exactly what's happening locally here. We're not looking at the big number or the big business. We're not looking at the media, the news outlets, all the crap out there. We're looking at the actual real numbers in order to make decisions. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit the link to book your call with me. I'd love to help you find your dream home here in Cape Coral like I have for so many other people. It'd really be a pleasure to assist you. So making realty dreams a reality here in the beautiful city of Cape Coral. Have a great day.